There's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
This is Skye Dahl, and you're watching BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father. And as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a privilege to welcome Swedish Proto-Glam rocker Skye Dahl, and she has released her dark fantasy-styled Hypokrit music video. Skye Dahl will release a future full-length album to follow between fall of 2024 and 2025, featuring her dog in the background.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I love it. I love it. I love it. Gotta have the babies in there. Got to.
It's real life. I'm like, I don't know.
It's all good. So we're going to talk to Skye about all this stuff, what she's got working on. We'll just get into this. So welcome to the podcast, and how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. It's kind of hot here in Austin, but...
Oh, okay. So imagine being without AC right now in my apartment. I have no AC right now.
What? How are you living?
They are supposed to get it fixed right tomorrow. They are actually got it semi-working, but we can only have it turned on for just a little while before we burn it up. I say just burn the damn thing up and put a new unit in.
Yeah, it's too hot. Where are you?
I'm in Eastern Kentucky. I think today got the 90s, upper 90s.
Oh my word. Yeah, you need AC. I don't know how you're functioning. I would be so cranky and rude. I don't do well in the heat at all.
So your skills were built through theater and choreography, leaving an indelible mark upon productions of Sweeney Todd, Guys and Dolls, and Carrie the Musical. When did you decide that you wanted to transition over to create your own music and just be a musician and have a career in it?
I started writing music when I was 18, but I was afraid to show people because it's a very vulnerable thing to share pieces of your soul. I was super happy to play other people on stage and create things and express myself through dance because it's personal, but not as personal as using your own voice and words and experiences. So I would say it started at 18. I just didn't really morph it into anything until I don't know, till about 24 or so. And I had done so much theater at that point and choreographed for musicals and lived in that space for so many years that I just kind of felt like I needed a change and I needed to kind of step away from the theater universe to see what else I can do as a creative, if that makes sense.
Do you ever go back and look at your folders of music and cringe and be like, what was I thinking there? What was this at?
Yes, I do. I even have old demos and stuff that I made with my neighbor. And I was like, what the hell was I doing? I was so proud of it at the time too. And I was like, but I didn't know as much as I do now. And at least I was trying. But yeah, some of that will never see the light of day. But it was a good try. That
was going to be my next question. Did any of that actually end up on this future EP or full length that you're going to come out with? Did any of that end up on it or no?
Oh, no, dude. I think the only song that maybe could, I would have to just revamp it because structurally it wasn't clean, and I'd probably push it more rock and roll because it's very pop house, which is not really for me. So there is one that maybe I would, but
every song she did with her neighbor, she's like, that's a banger. That is it.
I was like, we're so good at this. Oh my gosh. Oh shit. I think I even got my work to play it over the speakers because I worked retail and I was just, oh my gosh, I was on cloud 9 that they would even play it over the speakers. And now I'm like, please don't play that ever in any any place.
Yeah. Yeah, that song's banned off this damn playlist. Stop it.
Exactly.
How excited are you to have this single Hypokrit out now?
Very excited because it was like 2.5 years in the making, honestly. I worked with a different producer because I moved from Utah to Austin, and things went at a lot slower pace. And then I also had writer's block for a bit, which was really frustrating because I had a plan. Like, I'm going to release this, and then a few months later we'll release this, and then we'll release Hypokrit. And it's funny because, like, don't have a plan because it doesn't usually work out that way, especially with art. Like, it's going to tell you what it wants to do, and it's going to happen on its own time. And so I've learned that a lot with this track, Hypokrit specifically. And I also was waiting to get the right funds so that I can do all my cool ideas for the video, so I could do it justice. And so it took time, but I'm glad I did, because I wouldn't have met Kvir Gov, who is my new producer and mixer on the track. I wouldn't know Maor, who mastered it. I wouldn't have met Justin Piwetz, who actually plays Scandinavian instruments that like barely anybody plays, like the hurdy-gurdy, and he plays this massive war drum. I never would have had those people elevate Hypokrit had I rushed it back in the day. So like, it's good for me to take a beat because I can be pretty A-type and like, oh, we got to get it done. But I definitely kept getting humble pie and being taught to like breathe and like let it happen. And it definitely took a turn as far as like what the song was even about. It used to be like a diss track, but I could never finish it. So I flipped it on its head and was like, well, what if we did this as like the personification of hypocrisy? What would that sound like? Let me get in the mind of hypocrite people that I know, and what would they think about? And then I just made my own Norse god that doesn't exist, and her name's Hypokrit. And so I'm glad that it took time to breathe and that I was able to work with the amazing people. So I'm very proud of it for all those reasons, as well as paying homage to my Scandinavian heritage that I wasn't always able to be proud of. So I'm very, 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 very proud of it.
But you know, looking back at that, you go 2 years without even, working on this song. And when you left off from it, did you have to go back and say, okay, this is how this sounds now, and then I want to change it this way? Did it turn out exactly the way you intended it to, or did it maybe take a change for the better?
Oh, it took a complete change for the better. I mean, I always knew I was going into it, I wanted it to be very rhythmic and vocals. I wanted to strip it back on purpose because I think there's a lot of power in that, and it just to keep like the tribal, like traditional Scandinavian vibes of it. So that was always my thought. I didn't want a bunch of guitars in there. I wanted it to be this like very vocals and drums thing. So that was pretty constant from now the finished product to what it was. But as far as getting the other instruments on it, that wasn't something that I always was thinking of. That kind of came as it started to keep getting more and more of a life of its own. So it definitely elevated it to new heights.
So what led this track to be the first song released from you? I mean, was there other ones that could have been released, or was this just something that stuck out that said this has got to be the one to go first?
So I have a song called Doormat, and that actually was the first from the album to release. And I released that back in Utah, and there's not a video or anything for it. It was kind of released and didn't push it too much, I guess. And then this one was supposed to be the third one to release, and it turned out to be the second one released. So I wanted it to be more of like the crescendo before the album, but it's turning out just to be like the heavy hitter that gets people first, I guess. So
and think about this, folks. Hypokrit was handpicked by Metal Hammer UK as one of the 10 new songs of the week. It also clinched third place and is now featured on Metal Hammer's playlist for top songs of 2024. So that's not taken lightly,
Yeah, I'm very proud. I was very, very honored that that happened. It was very unexpected, and I'm very honored, happy to be part of the Metal Hammer family, I guess. So very cool. Very cool.
Seeing that though, being in those magazines and those charts among all these other metal musicians, what did anything go through your head? Like, wow, I mean, I wrote a song that's actually up there with, like, I don't know, say, I hate to say this band's name, Five Finger Death Punch, or either Motley Crue right now. I mean, all these other bands that's out there.
Yeah. I honestly, I definitely had, like, I think Tom Morello was on there, and I was like, what? And I just had imposter syndrome, I swear, where I was like, this is not, is this real? Like, it took me a second for sure, because I was like, that's very generous to put me among some of these huge, like, legends. And so very grateful, very cool to be recognized. And in the UK, because like, you know, I'm so, there's not enough words to say how cool it is. And I still kind of have imposter syndrome. I work on it every day, because it's kind of like when you're grinding as an independent artist, like you've been grinding so freaking long. So like, as soon as things start happening, you're kind of like, nah, I don't really believe it. You know, so I'm working on that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And to me, I do this all the time. I've seen this for 14 years of all these singles and stuff that's come out. When you, to me, when I see something like your music or anybody's music, that's not really known as of right now, get to the UK status or say overseas, London, places like that, and they respect your music and you're in their charts, you're doing something correctly.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm super honored. Like, I would love to go over there and just keep basking in it. But I appreciate that.
Did the music video turn out exactly the way you wanted it, and plus your vision that you wanted to create it? Did it all turn out exactly the way you want, or did you leave just a little piece out maybe?
I would say it exceeded expectations. I had very key, because I had a while to write it, right? I had a while to like visualize it, because I'm very visual anyway. That's how a lot of my music even comes to be, is it starts visual for me a lot of the times. So I'm going to say definitely exceeded expectations. Some of the things that weren't what I wanted were like kind of smaller, trivial things. Like I was supposed to have 4 dancers instead of 2. I was supposed to have 2 fire dancers instead of 1. So like there's some little things like that when I look at the big scheme of things, it didn't make or break the story. So, but overall, like from the props that I wanted to make, from how I wanted every scene to look, from the story, like making sense, which thank goodness, because it took a minute to like write the script and stuff. I was like, I hope this makes sense. And just to see it, because I was in the editing room as well, to be like, okay, I want these clips. And I was helping put them in the right order. So I had a heavy hand from start to finish. So I would say it definitely is what I wanted and more, because of the excellent performances by the rest of the people and the other people behind the scenes.
I want to go back to this just for 1 second. You stated, I want you to feel your inner Viking roar to life, ready to conquer anything. There's nothing more rock and roll than defying the status quo. And I agree with that. How important is that for you, for somebody to listen to that and take hold of that and actually put that to use?
It's very important to me, because I know for me, like music is healing for me, and it's also therapeutic for me. And when I can't process something yet, or like when I can't put something into words yet, that's what music is for me. And so as an entertainer, I take it very seriously that I have the opportunity to do that for other people. So especially not feeling strong in certain circumstances, or feeling like you have to conform in other circumstances, like I'm a huge advocate for being authentically yourself, and being unapologetically yourself, and be powerful and proud of your culture and where you come from and who you are. And so very important, whether you're listening to Hypokrit or you're listening to any of my other songs. I feel like that's the undertone in everything that I do, because I'm so passionate about that message.
How many songs are written so far for this upcoming full length? Do you have a lot written so far, or still just getting things together?
Yeah, so I would say about 85% of the album is written and almost fully done, because I had a former producer and then found one here, because the long distance thing just wasn't working, unfortunately. But I still love my former producer. He's an amazing human. We still talk. So I would say a lot of it. I need to write, I want to like 2 songs from scratch. Everything else is pretty much structured. It's just getting the vocals finally down and like, you know, seeing where else it'll go as we start tinkering.
Now you worked with Justin Piwetz and you worked with Kvir Gov, and you also worked with Maor Appelbaum, who's worked with a lot of people. He's done a tremendous amount of stuff with musicians. How was working with these gentlemen?
Oh my gosh, so cool. I knew Kvir before I knew Maor. So Kvir's the one that introduced me to Maor. I didn't know anything about him, honestly. Like, that's just the truth. Like, I didn't know the former people he'd worked with or like how much stuff he had done until after he mastered my song. And then I was like, wait a minute. Like, you're kidding me. And so very honored, and just to get his feedback too, because he gave a lot of cool feedback when he sent the mastered track, and he sent like 3 different options for me to pick from. And it was just cool to get somebody like that's feedback, and he really loved the song. So that's always something that it means a lot with your team. Like, hopefully you like what the heck I'm doing, or we shouldn't be working together. You know what I mean? And then Kvir, I can't say enough cool things about him because he's from Israel. He also used to be signed with Capitol Records. He plays guitar, sings as well. So like he has a really cool, like well-rounded understanding of the industry, but also coming from an artist's perspective, and then also from a world perspective of like music and sound. So he's just an all-around cool dude, and somebody that is such a joy to work with because he's always down for your ideas. He never makes you feel stupid for wanting to do something out of the box. And then Justin, he's also an engineer, like a sound engineer. So not only is he super talented because he plays many instruments, but he knows how to track them, because I think he lives in Dallas, if I remember. It's either Houston or Dallas. And so he tracked on his own and sent us the files. But because he's so good at what he does, we didn't have to like fix anything because he's so like, you know, attention to detail and recorded them really well. And he's open to ideas too. I would sing him like, can you do something like this on the hurdy-gurd? And I would just send him a voice memo and he would do it, but do it better. And so it was just a joy. It was just a lot of back and forth, and how can we make this cool? Or like, if this doesn't work, nobody's offended if I take it out. So like, it was just a joy.
All right, Skye, I know these are your babies. I totally understand that these songs are your babies, but are there any tracks standing out more to you than any right now that you could talk about on this upcoming album?
Yeah, so there's a song called Back to Me, and I call it like my sad song. It's more of a rock ballad, which, to be honest, I'm really scared to release it because it's really vulnerable. It's like one of the most vulnerable things that I have written. But I also, the other side of me likes that it scares me, because I know there's growth in whenever you do that. At least, you know, for me, I don't want to be like preaching to the masses, but I do know for me, when I do things that scare me, there's a great reward at the end of that. So that's actually going to be releasing in a month or so. So the idea is that will release, and then the album will release following that. So pretty scared but excited for you guys to hear that one. There'll be another video, but it's going to be it's very opposite ends of the spectrum from Hypokrit going to Back to Me. But I like that. That's very much me. I like to go from these extremes, like one extreme to the other.
Are you still experimenting with your sound? Are you wanting to push beyond those boundaries to see what actually you can do?
Oh yeah, no, I always love to do that. I don't like being stuck in one thing at all. Like, I always say my sound is glam rock meets Michael Jackson, which that's not a thing, but it's what I say is my thing. But I did something that's more traditionally Swedish, and there's traditional elements in there, and I got to learn how to use my vocal instrument in traditional cool ways. So I always am searching for ways to grow and change and do things different, just to keep being out of my comfort zone. So I definitely would love to push the boundaries in my sound. I think I already have a sound, but like, where else can we take it? Yeah. Yeah.
Is the track listing placement important for your releases?
Yeah, I really do. I treat it as like a show.
Yes.
It's probably because of my background, but when you go to a show, you want to start out really like hit people, in my opinion. You want to get them going and get them excited. And then in the middle of the show, you kind of do things that are sadder or a little lower tempo. And then we're going to start picking it back up to end on a really high note. So I treat my track orders the same as if you were seeing a big production. That's how I like to do it.
Is there a song on this album that's a sleeper that may not even get a video release or anything like that should have, but maybe not going to?
Yeah. I would say my other kind of slower one, it's called Soap Opera. I think I would name Soap Opera as that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So far, what has been your toughest or your best song that you've written in your own opinion? Or do you have one?
Oh my gosh, my best song that I've written so far. Whoa.
Bring the big boys out tonight.
No, what you're making me think. You know what? I don't know. I don't know if I've written it yet. I feel like, here's the thing. I feel like if I feel like I've done my best work, then I have nowhere else to go from there.
Okay.
So I, in all honesty, can't just be like, that's my best. Never can top it. You know what I mean? If you're asking for like a favorite, I would say Scream for Me is one of my favorites. It was inspired by Michael Jackson's Give In to Me, which is on the Dangerous album. And it's kind of creepy because I love creepy things. So I would say that's one of my favorites, and Doormat would be one of my favorites. But as far as my best, I am still grinding and reaching towards doing my best work.
Speaking of creepy, the best Halloween movie ever.
Yeah. Oh no, is that Michael Myers? I'm obsessed with Michael Myers.
That is my favorite franchise ever, hands down.
You're a smart man. You are a smart man. Well, he started all the slashers. Like everybody else that loves these other slashers, I'm like, hey, excuse me, the OG is Michael Myers. So
John Carpenter, excuse Rob Zombies don't count for me. Sorry.
You know what? I can understand that. I do like the original. His are okay. They're just,
I can watch them. I can tolerate them, but
yeah. I mean, art is subjective. Like it's his interpretation, which
right,
perfect. But oh my gosh, I love Michael Myers. He still freaks me out, but in a good way.
I have a huge Halloween this poster right here. I've got this poster signed by members of this movie over here on my wall right now. I haven't got it completed, but hopefully soon I will. Hopefully.
That's amazing. Look at us. We just became best friends. I have a little figurine, like a little Michael Myers figurine. He's got like a little knife and he's so cute, and he's in my living room. And I have records and I've seen all the movies. So
I've got like a stuffed Michael Myers over here. It's got a little knife on him like this.
Cute.
Got a little spike hair.
Cute. I need one of those. That's cute.
Now we're gonna get to know Skye just for Skye and pick her brain other than her music. We're gonna just know her on a musical level here. If you could write an album equivalent to your favorite band's album, which album would that be? What album would you want to write that would come close to your favorite one?
Ooh, like from my influences?
Yeah, like your favorite band of all time. What like say? I'd like to write something close to Dark Side of the Moon or something like that, maybe.
Good question. My favorite Michael Jackson album is Dangerous. And so I would say that. I would say if I can write something that's as epic and cool as Dangerous, because like Black or White's on there, Remember the Time's on there. A lot of really good songs are on that one. That's what I would say.
My friend's gonna kill me when I say this. Heather, please don't kill me when I tell her this, because it's absolutely hilarious. I still laughed at this today, even though you told me this in high school.
Oh, I'm ready.
Every time that she hears "Man in the Mirror," she cries. And we used to sit in class and just go, "I'm talking to the man in the mirror." And she go, I'd see her turn away, and I go, "Got it."
Aw, you're terrorizing her, poor thing.
Well, that's just me. It was me and her other best friend, Cortina. She used to. So funny.
That is hilarious. You guys are fun. I had that. Well, I had something similar in high school, but I didn't cry. But like every time I'd walk down the hallway, my guy friends, if they were around, they'd be like, "Hee hee,
Oh,
come on, girl, hee hee," all the time. So anywhere I would walk, I would just hear it from like all different sides of the.
Oh man. And I'd look at it and honestly go, tell me what exactly in that song makes you cry? What is it? Tell me what's the line in that makes you cry? Where's it at? I don't see it. It's like, you don't understand.
It's a beautiful song. It's all about if you want change in the world, you gotta change yourself.
That's true. That's true. I love giving her a hard time about it though. But
I support her. They are beautiful tears being shed. It's a moving song. Bless her.
if you could be a member in an iconic band and play one of their legendary shows, which band would that be and what show would it be possibly?
Ooh. I would say Queen, the Live Aid show.
Okay. Now, as far as a musician, what's been your most memorable show that you've been a part of that you still can't believe that you were to this day? Like, have you performed anywhere that people just went absolutely crazy over your music live?
I would say when I performed at the Hard Rock Cafe in Seattle, that was amazing because I got to go back home because I'm from Washington. And I had a lot of my friends and people I went to high school with and my family that came. And it was just a really special, it was just a special experience. And to have people singing lyrics back to you, like, there's nothing like that, honestly. Because I'm always like, again, imposter syndrome. I'm like, you know my song? But that one was really, really great. And then now I don't even think Hard Rock in Seattle is even a thing anymore. I think they're getting rid of it, which is like so sad to me. But
all these great venues are collapsing. They're going away. CBGBs, they're gone. Hard Rock cafes, they're gone.
I know, it's sad because there's like memories, you know? I don't know. Somebody needs to get out there and fix it.
All right, folks, Skye Dahl has released her dark fantasy styled Hypokrit music video that's out right now. You want to go check that out. And plus her full-length album will be coming up very shortly. Skye, how can folks stay in touch with you? Buy your merchandise, all this good stuff. How can they do that, ma'am?
Oh, thank you for asking. So you can Instagram at Skye Dahl, SKYEDAHL official. And then Facebook is just Skye Dahl. Stream all my songs right now on Spotify, any streaming platform. Just look up Skye Dahl. I also have a website that's just skyedahl.com. As far as merch goes, I like to hand make costumes because I made all the costumes for Hypokrit. So like I'm making these cool shirts. So that's coming soon, but just you can always message me if y'all want merch ahead of time. But yeah.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Please get out, check out our YouTube page, and please subscribe to my YouTube page. And sadly, folks, if I don't get the views or anything like that, I'm not going to get all the big interviews like I used to. Please go subscribe, like. Sadly, that's what it's about now. It's not about the good interviews. It's all about the likes and the views, which is sadly. I'm going to say sadly because it really ticks me off.
Same.
But anyway. get out and check out Skye Dahl. Give her a fair shot. I think you'll dig what she's doing. And appreciate all these different musicians and artists that are out there right now, because I think we're in a time culture where things need to change. It needs not to be dull and stagnant.
I agree. That's what art is for. So you got to support your people just like you support Mayhem Hour.
That's right.
Yeah.
Stick around, folks. We'll see you next time on BODS Mayhem Hour. And again, please get out and subscribe to the YouTube channel and our Facebook page. And again, as always, I appreciate every single one of you guys and gals out there. Look, Halloween's coming up soon.
Yes.
Coming up soon, folks. Coming up soon. See y'all later. Thanks, Skye.
Thank you.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.